did you feel at halftime, given how well Louisville had shot from three-point range and how poorly your guys had shot, that you weren't in a terrible place, even down 10?
I wasn't sure, but they were shooting the ball well. I mean, we broke down a couple times. We were a little slow getting to the shooters, but they shoot. I mean, it's in their hands and it's off, and we've seen them do that. The one thing we talked about is, at least if we're there a little quicker and they're making them, we'll live with it. But we got to get there quicker. But I didn't know, because they're hard to guard. They're disciplined. You know, they threw the 1-3-1 at us that they hadn't showed a lot. They played, I think, only one possession against Duke. And so we were a little confused, and I thought when DeAndre got in foul trouble, Jay Huff gave us a great lift offensively. And I thought DeAndre was special. I mean, with the way he played, that was a special performance. But I liked the individual defense on the interior. In the second half, the individual defense sometimes bothering some shooters in the second half. It was really a gritty second half for us, though we didn't even shoot it. I think Dre's the only one who hit the threes, right, and didn't shoot it well, but we took care of the ball and, again, got some pressure with Kihei and finished it the right way.
Yeah, Tony, you finished plus 34 in points in the paint. How much was that a function of necessity for not shooting the three that well, or just intent that you wanted to attack the paint? Yeah, well, we're such a post-scoring team, so no, I tell you. But there's different ways to get it in the paint. And again, whether it was drives or tough finishes, Mamadou and Jay gave us a lift. You know, I didn't play Braxton and Jack in the second half, but I just went with, I thought, defensively the matchups and the way it was. But the rebounding and then the tough play, you know, in the lane, some drop passes or pocket passes, nice things really happened off the ball screen. So just we were so much better in the second half and tried to just stay the course.
Take one over on the left. Tony, why were you better? Was it defensively or just overall, or what was it?
In the second half? Yeah, I think, well, you know, I think we got DeAndre back on the floor. He's a terrific defender. That helped us with a matchup kind of at the 4 spot. And then when I put Kihei in, Kihei was really heating up the ball. And then DeAndre guarded Noara, who was terrific in the first half. And we were more mindful, not that we should not have been, but on the McMahon, sorry, I was going to say Ryan, because he's such a good shooter. So just thought we bothered. Of course, they missed some shots, and then we ran some decent offense.
Yeah, talk about Kyle. 8 rebounds, 8 defensive rebounds, and it's been a good rebounder all season for you.
He sure has. You know, sometimes the other guys just got to get people off, and then, you know, your guards have to come in and clean it up, and Kyle has a nose for the ball. He's deceptive with his bounce off the floor and going and getting stuff. Sometimes when he drives, he's deceptive that way, too, to be able to get off his shot. But with a lot of long threes and you know, they shot a lot in the second half. There's long rebounds, so that was important for the guards to clean up.
Coach, staying at home in the post, you usually trap the post. I'm here, Coach. You did not trap the post tonight. You stayed at home and played them straight up in the post. Was that because of the three-point percentage in the first half?
Well, our guys have been doing a good job guarding individually. Jack Salt's terrific. Mamadou, Jay, they've done some good things. And, you know, we always talk about it, but the way they shot the ball, we thought, you know, let's make them make some plays over the top and score and stay at home a little bit, because most teams are planning for our post trap. Not that we won't use it, but I think it was, you know, maybe they made 1 or 2 post buckets off of moves, but it helped us with our rebounding and also our perimeter defense.
Yes. Take one right behind you. Josh, right behind you, sir.
Tony, you said DeAndre was special today. Was there a moment in the game where you realized he was really feeling it?
I mean, the whole game. He was so complete defensively. You know, he hit the threes. He was driving, and he's playing good basketball. And you look at his stat line, and again, I just 9 of 11, made 2 for 2, got to the line. You know, I just thought he was so efficient. That's about as efficient as it gets, and was so valuable, whether it was guarding a switch, a perimeter guy, or, again, guarding Noara. And we needed his drives, drawing fouls, and we needed his threes when we weren't shooting it with the rest of the guys.
Jerry, and then Aaron.
Just piggybacking on that, Tony, what is it about his ability to take over a game? And in practices, is he so dominant that he can just drive to the basket almost?
You know, he's just continuing to evolve his game. You can see it. He's improving, and he's just playing at a high level. And you know, in practice, he shows signs of that, of course. But to do it in a game is a little different when we needed it, and there's some other really good players on the floor, so the spacing and things like that allow him for that. But when he's at the 4, he's a matchup problem. Just like when Noira's at the 4, he can be a matchup problem when he's shooting. So that's the way the game kind of is going with guys like that at times playing those spots.
Tony, you touched on Jay, and we've seen flashes of that at time. Is there anything holding him back from us seeing more of that or more often?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he gave us a lift. They're in that 1-3-1. Jay's his offensive skill, his touch around the rim, and his length is certainly unquestioned. It's just a matter of him continuing to, be good defensively, take care of the ball, get stronger in all those areas he's improving in. And then there's opportunities, like I said, Jack and Braxton didn't play in the second half. Jay showed flashes, and it's sort of a moving target with all of our guys. Sometimes Kihei isn't. It's just what the game requires. But Jay's offensive skills were there like that. He's talked about the mismatch 4. Well, he's an interesting 5-man. What I love today is he made some interior jump hooks and shots. It wasn't just out at the 3-point line or a drive, and that was exciting to see. And then he used his length to block a couple shots. So those things are all there, and they're coming. And he was rewarded for the way he played today, and we were rewarded by the way he played as a team.
Coach, when you have Jerome and Guy go, and they only have 4 baskets between those two, and your team can still come out and come back in the second half and win, what does that mean about your ball club?
Well, like I said, I think we got a great Mamadou, and I talked about DeAndre. Those guys, different guys at different times, and that certainly was a good step today, or a good sign that you have to be able to win in different ways. And I thought DeAndre was the catalyst to that, but other guys stepping up. And so that was hard. If you would have told me you're going to be 2 of 17, here are your stats, and in the first half this is the way it's going to be, I would have said we might be in for a long one tonight. But they toughened up and played well.
All right, Jeff.
It's easy to see how far Mamadou has come from his first years in the program, but even over the course of this season, have you seen significant progress from him?
Yeah, I think it's, when you color your hair, you kind of all of a sudden have games like that. So he's improved. Like Jay, there's just, for bigger players, it's a process. And it's a hard process to shortcut. It's just the reality of it, the way we demand people, the way we think play to be successful with holding guys, defensively, all those things. And you just see them get more and more accustomed to it. And again, it's really a process. And Mamadou's gotten stronger and better, and his athleticism is on display with his shot blocking and his quickness if he has to show and be able to close out, because that puts pressure on you when their 5 men can ball screen and separate. That's a hard action. We had some trouble with it, but.
You've had success coming from behind in this building. I'm trying to think if any of the players were on the. I kind of forget them all, but talk about just your success here.
It's just we've played well. I mean, you talk about I have so much respect for the Louisville program in terms of Coach Mack and his staff now, and the battles that we had with them when it was Coach Pageant and obviously Coach Patino. This is one of the more beautiful venues you're going to play in. The fan base they care. You just feel it. You feel it in the arena, and there's talented players. So you got to play well, and our guys have answered the call every time we've played them in these games. And yeah, it was so improbable last year, that one, but this one was the way you're supposed to come back. Last year is I don't know, but this year is how you have to do it when you're in those spots.